Howdy, folks. I'm Lonesome Lemming, loudly licking loathsome lemons.
I'm Amber.
And here are more loathsome lemons for us to lick. You know, when I was a child, I used to just eat lemons raw. People thought that it was strange, but I thought they were tasty. Let's get started.
I mean, you are strange. Is anyone debating that?
Not anymore. Not anymore. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Babysitting for a Single Dad? I am a 21-year-old female and I'm currently in community college and decided to start babysitting for some extra money. I live at home with my parents and there is a single dad who lives in our neighborhood, Alex, a 30-ish-year-old. I watch his 20-month-old son, Ryan, 2 times during the weekdays and typically once on the weekends. Sometimes I watch Ryan at Alex's place and other times I watch him at my own parents' house. Ryan is a sweet kid and it's not much at all. Well, last weekend, my boyfriend, a 21-year-old male, was over at my place when I was watching Ryan, and Alex came over to pick him up. We were chatting, and I shared a funny anecdote about a new word that Ryan had learned. Ryan had been saying it over and over again. Both Alex and I were laughing about how cute it was. After I handed off Ryan, my boyfriend looked mad and asked me why I was flirting with Alex. I told him that I wasn't flirting, I was just telling him about his son. My boyfriend then went on to say that I was flirting and that it was weird that I was watching a single dad's kid. He said that Alex was looking at me in a adult way and was clearly flirting with me. He also told me that I shouldn't be watching a single dad's kid and that I definitely shouldn't be going to a single man's house alone when I have a boyfriend. He said that it was inappropriate and that I need to stop doing it. My boyfriend has been pretty distant all week since this conversation. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. It seems like the boyfriend has unreasonable and some jealousy issues going on here. Like, just because you laugh with someone doesn't mean you're flirting with them.
I beg to differ. Anytime you laugh with someone, you are flirting with them. You're all flirters. All of you.
Yeah, no, that's not how that works. And the whole idea that, like, you shouldn't babysit for a single dad. Like, single dads need childcare too.
Yeah.
And most of the people doing childcare are women. If you cut off all the women casually dating from doing any kind of childcare for single dads, their pool is going to dwindle pretty quickly.
So I think that it doesn't seem like anything here was untoward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he was more handsy or trying to touch OP or something like that, and that might be a little bit of a different situation. Whereas they were laughing over something that Ryan's child said.
Right. I mean, how many people laugh over cute kid videos or
Yeah,
comments all the
yeah.
time? Like, I was scrolling through people, like, through like social media and seeing things my friends' kids say. I will laugh out loud. I'll read them out loud to Brian because kids can be hilarious.
Yeah. And so I don't think that there's anything, at least from OP's letter, that makes it sound like he's overtly hitting on OP. Now, he may be hitting on OP, but just because someone is hitting on you doesn't mean that you're going to cheat, right?
Right.
And if it comes to the point where he ends up crossing a boundary, then OP can go out of that and stop babysitting for him, right?
Right. But Opie has to have her own agency and decision making in this. The idea that her boyfriend wants her to wholesale just stop communicating with this guy because he decided they were flirting.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's accusing OP of flirting when OP says that I wasn't flirting, and I'm just gonna take OP's word at that.
Yeah.
It seems like he has some jealousy and some trust issues he needs to work on.
Mm-hmm. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Noel's Toad 2 says, Info. Be honest, OP. Have you been flirting with a dad? And OP replies, No, I haven't. Alex sometimes tells me that he has dates, so he definitely wouldn't be telling me that information if he was flirting. Lol. Well, I don't know if that's true. Like, some people will use scarcity to basically make themselves more enticing. And if he's going on dates, then he's more scarce, right? So I wouldn't discount that as a tactic for someone trying to pique interest in you.
Oh, I don't know. Like I'm way more. These mind games don't make sense to me. I'm way more charitable in my interpretation of people.
Well, I'm not saying that all people are like that, but there are certain people who are like that. And I would say for 90% of people, it isn't going to be the case, but there are those 10% people who are like, oh, if I make myself scarce, then she'll like me more or something like
Yeah,
that,
so that
right?
would have the opposite effect on me. I'd be like, oh, this person's taken, bye.
Yeah. And I am Irene says, not a jerk, but massive red flags for your boyfriend who apparently doesn't understand that babysitting, flirting, and or a desire to date. He's controlling on top of that. Not surprising given the teaspoon depth of emotional maturity that he's exhibiting. Guess what? He doesn't get to make those decisions for you. He is showing you who he is. Act accordingly. And Saj says, not a jerk, and it sounds like your boyfriend is too insecure and has probably been watching too many adult videos. And Hoping to Thrive says, your boyfriend is not very smart. He's not mature enough to have a girlfriend. And Fidgetal666 says, correct in the fewest number of words. Alright, folks, and our next letter is titled, I'm a 26-year-old female and my dad buys me a Valentine card every year. My 28-year-old male partner has an issue with it. We have a 5-month-old baby and have been together for 16 months. What are your thoughts? And folks, as the title says, but then OP adds, it's caused a full-blown argument. What do you folks think?
I think it's sweet that OP's dad buys her a Valentine's card. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think this guy needs to get over himself, stop trying to compete with OP's dad.
I am disagreeing. Clearly the dad is flirting with her.
Everything is flirting.
Yeah, I mean, did they laugh together? Ask yourself this, OP. Have you laughed with your dad? Flirting.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the ridiculousness, like, okay. If people's parents send them Valentine's cards or gifts, I see that as a sweet gesture with no romantic overtures. Like, not everything Valentine's Day has to be romantic.
Your boyfriend is literally looking for a reason to start a fight. This is what it feels like more than anything, because there's no person that I know of, and this is a logical fallacy by me saying
Yeah.
this like this, but no one that I've ever met would interpret a parent giving their child a Valentine's Day gift as something untoward or to be concerned about, right? And either one, he's just jealous because the dad got a gift and OP, appreciates that, and so now he feels lesser or insignificant or like he has to compete with OP's dad, or he is literally finding something to pick at OP over so that he can, find an excuse to be mad at them.
Yeah, I don't know, obviously, their situation, but my vibe from these kind of guys, because this isn't the first Reddit post I've heard of like this, is that they kind of want to be the only man in their partner's life, as if having a father or a brother or a cousin is like somehow like this horrible, evil thing because, they're the only man that should matter.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Halo Prime 21 says, not the jerk, your dad is caring enough to send you a card for Valentine's Day. Your boyfriend is just insecure. Maybe think about your future with him. And Scorp 128 says, maybe boyfriend needs to step up his game instead of being jealous that OP has a father that takes the time to acknowledge Valentine's Day with a card to his daughter. It's a very sweet thing to have between a father and a daughter. Boyfriend needs to stop caring about it. And Best Fun 5905 says, being together for 16 months with a 5-month is absolutely ridiculous. So you're just getting to know his not so great traits then, is what you're actually saying. Sounds like he has daddy issues. And Bell Groundbreaking 57 says, that was my thought exactly. I mean, she's asking about something that's simply a non-issue. Dad cares about his daughter. The bigger issue, and most importantly, is that she got pregnant with a person that she barely knows. They don't know each other. With that said, sadly, they are going to have bigger problems than Valentine's cards.
I mean, I don't like the attitude of these comments. Like, things happen. People become pregnant, and I don't think you should shame someone for how conception happens.
Oh, yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, you never know what the circumstances are, and the thing is, like, they were trying to make things work, and sometimes things just don't work out. You're not compatible with a person, and you find out later on, right?
Right. And, like, even if you know someone for years, things can still go wrong once you have a kid in the picture. A lot of times people who seem kind and considerate, once they've got you locked down with a kid, if they're the manipulative sort, that's when those behaviors will come out.
Yeah. Well, I was looking back at the ages here. It's like, isn't this guy like 23? No, he's 28. Now I'm even more disappointed. I was like, a 23-year-old, that would make sense why they would be like maybe a little more self-centered and selfish. But you would think by 28 they would kind of be less so. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, My Stepdaughter Accidentally Called Me Dad Yesterday and It Made Me Cry. The missus knows that I have read it and I have yet to tell her about this, hence the throwaway. My wife was previously in a physically abusive relationship, and at one point during this, she and her, at the time, husband adopted a little girl. My wife has never said as much, but I do believe the adoption was her ex's way of trapping her even more. There is nothing that she wouldn't do for her daughter. And she said before that there was a lot of guilt that came from leaving her ex, particularly because her daughter had already lost one set of parents, and she didn't want to put her through losing a family again. Well, we did some family therapy before we got married, and we still go every now and again. But for the most part, everything has been fine these past few years. My stepdaughter is now 16, and our relationship is pretty good in my opinion. I'm so proud of her. She's a smart kid, she's kind, she's witty, considerate, and she has such a loving heart despite the things that she's been through. She's a lot like her mom in that way. I knew, given her early childhood and the representation that she did have of what a father figure was like, that she wouldn't be that close to me. I just wanted her to feel comfortable and safe, so I let her set the tone for how things are between the two of us. I never tried to make myself her dad. She said that she didn't want or need one, and I respect that completely. I assumed that I would always just be a guy that her mother was married to and hung out with her sometimes. But since my wife and I have had our son, it's been a little different. Our son loves his big sister, and she loves him endlessly. I don't know what exactly a toddler and a teenager have in common to talk about, but they're always chatting about something. She'll take him just about anywhere, and he'll insist that she comes along wherever he goes. I took him to the park yesterday, and he wanted his sister to come along with him, so the three of us ended up going there together while my wife was out spending time with some friends. The kids were playing catch, and at one point, the ball ended up getting stuck in a tree, so my stepdaughter, who's very afraid of heights, climbed up there to get it out. She got the ball, but she was too scared to climb back down on her own. So I stood at the base of the tree trying to help her get back down to the ground. Before she started to climb down, she looked at me and said, "Dad, promise me that you won't let me fall." I promised, and I got her back on the ground in one piece. She didn't say anything about calling me dad. She still hasn't. I'm a grown man, but I cried like a baby once the kids were upstairs. I haven't mentioned it to my wife yet because I'm not sure if she meant to call me that or if it was just a slip up or whatever. Whatever the reason was behind it, I just really hope that I've been the kind of dad that she's always deserved. All right, folks, what do you think?
Aw, that's so wholesome. I
Oh, it
love
is.
it.
It is very wholesome. And I think that OP has done exactly the right thing. They
Mm-hmm.
haven't tried forcing themselves to be a father figure. They're not being overly jealous. They just wanted her to have the best possible childhood that she could. And that's commendable. There are so many people who don't want that.
Yeah, well, it is unfortunate how many times, the step parents are either hostile or they're trying to take over and like use this as some kind of like wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I think letting the kids set the tone of a relationship is so important.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that she would ever have developed the trust that she would have needed if he hadn't given her the ability to make these kinds of choices on her own
Mm-hmm.
and instead try to impose being her father. And I'm really happy for them, and I hope that she did mean that, and I'm pretty sure she meant it, right? I mean, yeah, there's some small part of, small or large part inside of her that views you as a father. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said it. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I have been hiding a secret from my wife. At work, they started getting us cupcakes every Friday recently. Everyone gets to have only one, and I never eat mine so that I can give it to my wife. She doesn't know that we only get one each. She thinks that I eat mine at work and bring her an extra one or something, and I will never tell her. I want her to enjoy it peacefully. She has a sweet tooth, but we can't justify buying snacks currently, so we just haven't had treats in a little while. I love seeing her reaction when I whip out an almost squished muffin. It's really sweet. Sometimes she will unintentionally do this little cute dance. Well, I think that is the one little joy in her life right now. I love her so much, and it makes me so happy seeing her like that. So I will probably take it to my grave. All right, folks, what do you think?
More wholesomeness. Aw, my heart is melting. That's wonderful.
I think that being in a relationship, you really sometimes want to put your partner above yourself. And that's kind of when you know that you've achieved a point of like a selfless type of love where you will sacrifice something of your own in order to make someone else happy. And I think that too many people get wrapped up in many of the little meaningless things and
Mm-hmm.
the meaningless disagreements that people have on a day to day and really forget what it means to be in a partnership and to actually want what's best for your partner, right? Because a relationship is inherently like it doesn't make much sense, right? Because if you look at it from like a outside perspective, what benefit do you have for giving up parts of your life to someone else, right? Like you could be selfishly hoarding all of your resources or spending it on yourself or doing any number of things, right?
Yeah, but in a good partnership, the sum should be greater than the parts,
Yeah.
and you both invest into each other. And
Yeah.
when you mutually invest, then you both reap the benefits.
Yeah. It shouldn't be one-sided, right? I'm not
Hmm.
suggesting that it
Well,
should
no,
be,
no, I'm
right?
just explaining that,
Yeah.
and so like the problem is there are too many people who like at least one of the people in the relationship is very self-interested,
Hmm.
and that doesn't make for a caring, balanced, nurturing relationship. You have to both be willing to give.
Hmm. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What did one beluga say to the other about the deep sea party?
Oh, so I can tell you exactly what one beluga said to the other beluga, all right? It said, or some such nonsense, because that's all they can say, Amber, because they're animals.
I had a whale of a good
They
time.
didn't say that. You're a liar, and we know you're a
It's
liar.
a joke, Brian. And
I,
today is World Whale Day.
yeah, you just spun a whale of a tale there. And I have Earl Grey.
Everyone, tell Brian to be nice to me.
You see, there was too much wholesomeness, and now I had to recoil. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Special Sunday, folks. I hope your Sunday is very special and full of lots of wholesome stuff. And you know what makes it special? You do, and Amber does too, and the stories that we share also makes it special.
And Brian makes it special.
And folks, Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it wholesome.
I'm going to kind of steal my words from earlier, but in a good partnership, you should both invest into each other, and then you can reap the benefits of a nice, happy relationship.
Yeah, and also, you shouldn't steal words. It's illegal, and you go to jail for that.
What?
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Oh, bye.